Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, and it's encoding overloading again. Are you kidding me? With this, I told you to stop and it did. Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is that we are live on this beautiful Saturday morning for the second Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine series. The bad news is that I had dreams of beautiful 1080p HD that have unfortunately been dashed against the rocks. My computer simply cannot handle it. There's a lot going on that's causing this, but if I had to guess, it's a simultaneous lack of a good computer, along with every single person in the universe trying to get into this stream specifically. And I understand the Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine series is a big deal. I'm very happy to be here with all of you on my weekend, and I've got chat right here with the hype train going already. The stream wasn't even up. Oh, you people are ridiculous. It says you're muted? I'm not muted. No way. No. You are messing with me. I won't fall for that this time, chat. I can see very well that I am not. Anyway, I'm here to talk to you about this new format. There's just so much going on post-Secret Slayer that's so interesting. But before we get into that, I want to real quick wrap the lessons learned from the last Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine series. So we did this a couple of weeks ago, I think exactly 2 weeks ago, last Sunday. The end result was fantastic. We got a really sweet tournament out of it. Wasn't necessarily the most meta-relevant, no Rocket Link in any large competitive capacity, by the way, but I learned two very fundamental things. First, I have to increase the player count as high as possible, because a lot of people want to play, and second, I can't do all this alone. So, the cameraman is here with me, and he will be taking replays and the like. Oh my gosh. Dan the Manhoben, thank you for 5 tier 1 subs. You are a true hero. I've been there with bad computers. I understand. Boy, oh boy. Anyway, oh my god, are they? Wow, just incredible. Anyway, let's get away from me. Despite the fact that I am the man of the hour, the most important individual in the world, I think what's more important is Yu-Gi-Oh! The video game. So hopefully this works. Fingers crossed. Tugging on the ends of my nubile mustache. Hey, it did. Okay, cool. Oh, I didn't think about this. I'm very, very stupid. We're gonna have to wait for it to transition to the next one, unless I do this. I'll open this up. I'll name it whatever. And then... Oh, even better. Even better. There we go. This is the deck breakdown for this event. This event has, of course, 128 competitors, and unlike last time, they are playing really good decks. This doesn't happen very often, especially with Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, especially with Yu-Gi-Oh! Players who subscribe to me. For some reason, they seem to be predestined toward jank. I'm not going to look into that. But today we have a lot of people playing really fundamentally good decks. You can see, overall, the number one takeaway from a post-Secret Slayers meta is that people are excited to play Secret Slayers decks. The number one represented list is Emancipator with, I think, 12 copies out of the 128. That's 9% of the total field. Emancipator, of course, is the breakout archetype from Secret Slayer. It is a powerful combo deck that can routinely go into monsters with very novel forms of interruption and negation. I'm talking specifically about Dragite here, which can negate spells and traps and bounce your opponent's monsters. I mean, Brionac was on the list for how long? I don't have to tell you how strong an effect like this is. Second is Dinosaur, and no surprise there either. either. Dinosaur got a ton from the new ban list. There's a lot of cards that lock you out of your extra deck, and Dinosaur really doesn't care about it. There's a lot of cards that punish combo overextension, and Dinosaur can play well under Nibiru. And most importantly, Giant Skyhawk, the winner of the last Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine series, was on Dinosaur. And as a result, I think we're likely to see a lot of people either net decking his build or playing something similar. Now, notably, this includes both Dinosaur and True King Dino, which are kind of fundamentally different decks, but still operate along the same axes of representation. After that, we've got Eldritch. I think 8 copies of Eldritch in the top 128, and I have terrible news. I am not buying the hype on this archetype. I know that it's topped a couple of times in the OCG, but there's a couple of things that keep it... there's a couple of reasons why it specifically is good there. People play it there as a 60-card build that takes advantage of triple reasoning and triple grass looks greener. They mill 20 cards, and then at the end of their first turn, they trigger 5 Eldritch spells in graveyard in order to set an entire board. We can't do that. As a result, I think if you're playing Eldritch in the TCG, you're either playing a mediocre Baylor Drock deck or a actively bad control deck. Despite that, people are excited to try out the Golden Boy, and since they're not going to have a chance to in paper, given its super short print status, I can see bringing it for the event. After that is Mech Knight. Mech Knight is, was really, really powerful in the last YCS as well. Sam K. Soon 321, making an unbelievably deep run with the archetype. It returns, to wreak havoc on tons of people. This archetype needs no introduction. It's been around forever, and suddenly, it's getting quite good. It's gotten some new tools in the new, set, but I don't know if those tools are what's causing it to, see success. Rather, players are getting more skilled at navigating zone control. We've got 5% Shadow, and both this and the Mech Knight decks, some of them are playing Invoked, some are not. I just didn't want to splash Invoke everywhere. Shadal, of course, is incredibly powerful. It is able to repeatedly access new cards like App Cologne, but more importantly has turn 1 window setups that shut out, I think, the entirety of the meta. After that is Gren Maju, represented at 5%. That's 6 deck lists. 3 of these deck lists are heads-up Gren Maju builds. The other 3 are playing Inferno Tempest. I have an important opinion about Inferno Tempest. I don't think it's particularly good. Inferno Tempest, for example, has to be the focus of a deck. It can't just be an occasional splash in a Gren Maju archetype. The two combo lines are in conflict with each other. Gren Maju wants you to banish willy-nilly and end up with very few cards in deck and a ton of cards in the banished zone, while Inferno Tempest will literally banish your Gren Majus, and you will fail to deck out your opponent if you've activated something like a Pot of Desires beforehand. I'm excited to see how the Inferno Tempest decks specifically do in this tournament, and of course they represent about half the total Gren Maju field. After that is Dragon Link. Shocked to see only 5 or 6 people bringing this deck to the tournament. Dragon Link is extremely powerful, but if you watch my 10-minute testings, there's a link to those below. The individual I played a best of 3 of yesterday, RANPG, I think is their name, they just absolutely walloped me with an absolutely novel take on Dragon Link, which goes into repeatable rank 4s in order to make Raid Raptor Wise Tricks and end on the old Lunalight board, in addition to the existing Dragon Link plays. After that is Subterror. One of them's playing Terratai, that's pretty cool, and a couple of copies of Pendulum and Infernoid. We've got about 62 people playing other. This is comprised of about half the format. I've put the worst archetypes that we received in the other section. There's an Ojama VWXYZ deck, and you heard that right. It is not Ojama ABC. It is Ojama VWXYZ. It's got literally no ability to access anything but the VWXYZ Union monsters. I don't understand why. I would like insight as to why. There is an individual playing Phantasm Spiral, Hero of Time, and there is an individual playing Thunderclap Skywolf Turbo, who might be in chat already. And finally, I do want to highlight the Secret Slayer's specific representation of all the decks that are of archetypes that are represented in Secret Slayers. We've got 12 Adamancipator decks. We've got 8 Eldritches. And there's someone bringing Rika. Man, good luck to the Rika person. But I don't have particularly high hopes for them. I think the goal is for the Rika player to beat all the Eldliches. And if they do, they win the title of second best archetype in Secret Slayers. So with that out of the way, let's now take a look at some of the players to watch. So the first player to watch is Lieutenant Labcoat, or Lieutenant Labcoat, if you're a disgusting British person. This individual is the Trinity format administrator as of, I think, 2 days ago. He is an unrepentant centrist. He and I do not get along, but notably, he did make the tournament software that we're using to host the Quarantine series itself. It's called Pandora. Dude is an absolute coding whiz, and the format that he is responsible for, Trinity format, is extremely fun. We will be running a side event, and hopefully we should be able to live cast the finals of that as well, right after the end of the main event. He has also never won a game, as attacking is too radical. After that, to those of you asking in chat about things like Zoo and Altergeist, they're represented as well, but under 4 copies, which was the cutoff to be shown. After that is GCD. This is a, I mean, if you're on YouTube, you know GCD. They are a famous YouTube watcher. They watch a lot of YouTube. They promised to make Yajiro Vader 2 if they win. That is true. That really happened. I'm definitely not making that up right now. And they are playing maybe the worst deck in the tournament. Let me know your guesses as to what they are playing, but you're not going to get it right. If people watch the stream, can they snipe people? Nope, there is a delay. Our third player to watch is Giant Skyhawk. No surprises here. Giant Skyhawk won the last Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine series. It was not close with Dinosaur, and the man has been repping the deck for just ever. I would be hard-pressed to find a better Dino pilot than this guy, and I love his build specifically, which integrates a lot of control tools, trap cards, survival instinct, Paleozoic Morella, etc., as enablers for Lost World. And it looks like we have gone down again. No, we have not. We are back. Oh my god, internet.jpg. Regardless, I am very excited to see what he brings. And finally, Jeff's back, baby. Jeff has returned. Nothing to say about this either. The man is back, and he is out for blood. He brought the deck. I mean, why wouldn't he? He brought exactly Mystic Mine, and it's worse than you could have ever expected. Not only did he bring Mystic Mine, but also he took all of the win conditions out of Mystic Mine. He's not playing any win conditions made. He's only got exactly Final Countdown, and you know, you could draw Final Countdown in your last 10 cards and just lose the game immediately. His secret win con is in a format where the timer prevents your opponent from slow playing. He intends to deck out his opponent game 1. I'm super excited. I'm really maybe we'll watch a game of his. I'm sure he'll be the last person playing every single time. And I really wouldn't have it any other way. Dude is a house, and very happy to see his APM is so out of this world that he is able to make it into all of these. Oh, incorrect one there. So that is that. I hope you are as excited for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine series as I am. We have just about 5 minutes before the first round is going to go up. Sound off in the chat below about any of the decks that you saw in the breakdown that you want to see for round 1. We have a list of what everyone's playing, and I want to make sure you have the most entertaining time possible. I am already entertained by virtue of seeing all of your shining faces in chat. This will also give us a good time to make sure the stream is working properly, though I think we have ironed out all of the kinks. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off round 1. It will start momentarily. I'm talking less than 5 minutes. And then the Quarantine series will begin. Super excited. Enjoy the No Copyright Sounds playlist. Hello! And we are back. It is time for the first round of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine Series 2. I have got a fantastic matchup for you. It's against two individuals who are both quite good at Yu-Gi-Oh! That doesn't happen very often, especially in online tournaments. The first, of course, needs no introduction. They are Giant Skyhawk, the previous winner of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine series, and the second is Crasher V, an individual who's been around both Trinity format and our individual Discord for a while, playing a deck that was kind of engineered at the last one of these, the Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon deck. Now, this card is an extremely powerful combo enabler, but what it does specifically for Karakuri is exciting, and I'm pretty sure that Crasher's on that version of the build. So I'm going to transition you immediately to the game, and we are going to get started. Well, I guess first I have to tell them that they can start the game. Oh, to anyone looking for the pairings, any of the mods can send them to you. It's all Jeff Leonard mirrors. And away we go. Alright, so I hope that I have these on the right side. Of course, you can never be particularly sure with YGO Pro, but we've got Giant Skyhawk versus Crasher Bot, and a lot is going to depend on who goes first here. You can see they're using the Master Rules April 1st, 2020 revision card, kind of an odd way to jerry-rig Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Percy into doing what we want. Alright, so I'm unsure who won the die roll, but it looks like it was Crasher. Now, Crasher's playing a lot of interesting cards in this deck that enable the Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon on turn 1 play, including the Tenyi monsters. Tenyi Dragonid Hara is a free tuner that just summons from hand, and oh my god, is that Time Maiden? Oh, jeez. Okay, so we're going to go from Time Maiden into Crystron Needle Fiber. Whatever gets the job done, I expect. And then afterwards, you're going to go ahead and get a 001 from deck. Now, this is the part of the combo that I think we're all familiar with. From here, you link summon a copy of Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon, and then when 3 machine-type tokens are summoned to your side of the field, a 001 will trigger in your graveyard, which special summons itself back. Though you can't link summon for the remainder of the turn, you are very much allowed to synchro, and there's a lot of level 7 synchros that enable some really excellent things. To those of you asking where you can find top deck lists of the last top 8, they're on YugiOhProDeck.com, but Skyhawk says, I don't intend to watch you summon any Karakuri monsters. Enjoy a rock. Now, this is going to be a pretty big token, but not big enough to survive the meteor itself. Alright, there we go. Happy chat. From here, there's really not a lot of stuff that the Mecha Phantom Beast deck can do, and yeah, just seeing a pass. What it lacks in, or what it contains in play starters, it kind of lacks in extenders, and oh no, oh no. Alright, so True King Lithiosagam the Disaster is going to be a disaster for Crasher. This deck is so reliant on individual cards within its extra deck. If he did banish 2 Earths, and wow, look at that. A Raptite, that's a very interesting include, but yep, there's Karakuri, Berebu, there's a couple of Heralds of the Arclight. There's Dugaris. That makes me think there's some shenanigans going on. But even though Crasher is on 2 copies of Auroradon and Needle Fiber, at least one of those is going to be banished here. That's going to prevent any comboing on future turns and likely just end the game right now. Alright, looks like Skyhawk is elected to banish both Auroradon and Needle Fiber alongside Ntis, though I don't know how that would have worked into the combo. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and trigger both the effect of Baby Sarasaurus and the effect of Petit Pteranodon in Graveyard. And special summon both a copy of Giant Rex from deck, and I think likely maybe a Pankratops. That's usually what Skyhawk tends to go into, though without an Oviraptor activation, I can't imagine he wouldn't prioritize that. And there it is, Soul Eating Oviraptor, which will activate and then likely send something like a Miscellaneosaurus. Yeah, this seems extremely over for those of you in chat. Giant Skyhawk just showing his prowess at drawing Nibiru. I mean, the deck is very svelte. He's not playing more than 40 cards. You gotta find those hand traps if you want any win condition against a significant amount of the meta. Lithiosagam is certainly quite good. It is very frightening that they let it off the list. But notably, for someone playing a deck or an extra deck full of singletons, Crasher does have a little bit of ability to win regardless. He's on 2 copies of Needle Fiber and Auroradon. You have to pick different names for Lithiosagam. So even if Skyhawk is able to make it turn 1, he won't be able to cut Crasher off of the entirety of the game plan. I think likely we're going to see the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno summoned here. Pensatag, of course, gives any monster it's linked to piercing, so it works really fantastically with Nibiru's with low defense. Can walk over the Nibiru for 3,000, get in for 3,000 with the actual Nibiru itself, and this is more than enough to assemble game. To any of you asking for invites to the tourney Discord, I don't think you're actually in the tournament. Alright, so there's Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Unsure what took Skyhawk so long in deciding to do this. Master Rule 5 is particularly good for Dinosaur for a reason you're about to see. Right here, you can overlay the Giant Rex and the Soul Eating Oviraptor for something like a Dolka or a Logia, which will absolutely close out Crasher. And now there's no ability to activate Nibiru from Crasher's side, even if they have it. That should be far and away the end of the game. Alright, so when it comes to sideboarding, unfortunately the Mecha Phantom Beast Turbo deck doesn't have a ton of opportunity to sideboard. You know, you're on so many one-card Halqifibraxes that there's really not a lot of mutable space within the deck. Giant Skyhawk, however, has a ton of stuff he can do. A significant amount of his deck is specifically designed to go first, and if he expects he'll be going second, he'll be able to board into more potent and more frequent hand traps over the trap cards that give the deck so many powerful control plays on the play. Giant Rex certainly was doing work. You are absolutely correct, chat. It's so powerful both as a way to attack over monsters with a significant amount of defense, but more importantly, it's a combo enabler and free link material. You can very easily just link it away and then banish it with Ultimate Conductor Tyranno with Miscellaneousaurus, make more link material, and on something like a Dolka, which against a lot of decks is just as, if not more potent than Appaloosa. Sanafond asks, what's the right number of Nibiru in a 40-card deck in your opinion? It's gotta be 40. I think maybe I'd play 39. To those of you wanting to see the Dino Paleo list, it is card for card, the same that it was last time. You can check out Giant Skyhawk's list at YugiOhProDeck.com. I believe the most recent article is the top 8 breakdown from the previous Cwarantine series. Alright, so looks like Crasher has allowed Skyhawk to go first, and this is a little bit of mind games here, you know. You don't expect Dinosaur decks to have capacity to go first. Giant Skyhawk's does, but provided he boarded out a lot of those going first options, he may have a very diminished ability to end on combo boards. Alright, so there's a Miscellaneousaurus. That telegraphs we already have an Oviraptor in the hand, or a second Fossil Dig, just as good. Oh boy, love to draw 2 of the same card in my 40-card deck. You know?
Is it 2-0 or 1 match? Is it 2-0 or 1-0? It's just one single match?
2-0.
Okay, so they have to go twice.
Well, it might be 2-0 or 2-1.
Got it.
Yeah. Alright, so there's the Oviraptor activation. Hold up. Sparky asking in chat, we need the deck lists sent to Pandor before 6 p.m. last night. We kicked out everyone who didn't do that. I apologize, but it's unlikely you're still in the tournament. We will be able to see the Ricka list at some time in the future. The real question is, do you want to? If they win game 1, or match 1, I'll consider putting them on camera. I mean, it's not like we're going to get a lot of opportunities to see Ricka regardless. Alright, so Lithiosegum is now going to activate. We're going to destroy likely a Giant Rex and probably a baby to special summon that sucker. Now, unfortunately, this isn't the end of the game for Crasher, but it is quite good. You can banish, I don't know, Excel Synchron would be pretty choice. There's a lot of cards that aren't necessarily integral to combos, but really diminish the ability of the deck to do payoffs. And then Baby Sarosaurus will activate in the graveyard, of course, which will... Oh, eat an Ash Blossom from Crasher. Wow, waited a long time to activate that, but good. It's not under any sort of protection at this point in the combo, and there's no Cult by the Grave, so if this is the end board, that's fantastic news. Unfortunately, there's the Miscellaneousaurus, and I think likely we'll be banishing both the Misk and a Giant Rex in order to get a baby from deck. We'll activate the Oviraptor effect, targeting the baby to get a baby, tag those two out, get another monster from deck, and likely end on a rank 4, a Pankratops, and probably a swift end to game 2. Alright, we'll activate the effect of Oviraptor here, as we expected. That's going to bring a baby to a baby, and likely... oh, that's interesting. He cycled through babies, not going into a Petit Pteranodon. So we'll go into a Miscellaneousaurus here, and it might get even worse than we had expected. Alright, we'll go into Dolka. Dolka, of course, is extremely good against decks like Crashers. Negating individual monster effects is super powerful, but wow, that was not a really powerful turn 1 board. As long as Crasher can destroy exactly one Dolka, he might be able to actually walk with us. He's going to activate Foolish Burial here, and Skyhawk does have an Ash Blossom as his last card. Alright, there's Jet Synchron. This is one of the many one-card Halqifibraxes, but, oh boy, activating the effect of Jet Synchron in Grave seems pretty suspect right now. One second, chat. Alright, and as expected, we're now going to activate the effect of Jet Synchron. I imagine that'll fetch a Dolka activation from Skyhawk. You really just don't want to allow absolutely anything for the Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon player. The only way they get back into this game is if they're able to make Halqifibrax. So ensuring that never happens is basically top priority. And letting the Jet Synchron resolve, unfortunately, that's going to end the turn for Crasher. And that looks like it's going to be the end of the game. Not a lot you can do from this position if you're Crasher. Sheesh, I mean, you don't even have a Link Haribo for Jet Synchron. Oh my god, wait! I was next leveled! Skyhawk let it through because there's nothing you can do. You can't link off into Link Haribo and activate the effect of Jet Synchron. Of course, you'd already activated it once regardless. I think maybe the punish was like special summon something like a Turbo Booster, and then link summon a Halqifibrax, but of course then you still have the Dolka regardless. I'm kind of walking through min-maxing on a board that's already a 90 to 95% completion rate, and wow! Already an Ash Blossom. That's Ash Blossom into Ash Blossom into Ash Blossom, but with the Dolka on field, it's a lot less impressive. It'll just get negated, and Skyhawk will continue to combo. This seems to be the end of the game. You can easily go into Pentatag. You can go into any big Chungus with 4 stars in its rank column. I mean, there's really no reason that Skyhawk shouldn't be able to win from this position. To those of you in chat saying monster effects are more important to negate usually, so Dolka over Logia, Skyhawk is playing both and will go into Logia blind, but in a matchup where he already knows that exactly monster effects have to resolve, it's Dolka all the way, baby. So we'll go into Pentatag, and of course, after that, we'll special summon a copy of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and that's going to do 3,500 damage over this copy of Jet Synchron. Wow, and likely be the end of the game. You can't even Nibiru from this position because the Dolka still has material, and it's not once per turn. It's not even once per chain. People forget, but this card is absolutely bonkers. We could go into Logia here as well. I think it increases the board's power by just a smidgen, and it looks like that's likely what Skyhawk's going to do. From this position, the game is absolutely over, and a swift 2-0, absolutely textbook out of Skyhawk. It's got to be, what, Battle Fader or bust? Oh my gosh. I mean, this is why this individual won the last YCS. He goes for the throat. Absolutely not playing around in round 1. Against another really good Yu-Gi-Oh player. Shocking to see such an absolutely streamlined, quick victory. Well, we are back at the casting desk, I suppose. I didn't really expect that one to go so quickly. I guess I should have known that, Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon does kind of live or die based on its turn 1 play, so if it's unable to access that turn 1 play, say 2 games in a row, then it's probably going to die rather than live. Skyhawk, of course, looking strong as ever. Individual is so absolutely good at navigating both Dino combo lines, and this is an underrepresented skill in Yu-Gi-Oh! Understanding what his opponent is going to do very early on. There's such a wide swath of decks in the metagame, especially right now. You saw 62 individuals have brought something other than the most represented decks. The breadth of knowledge that Skyhawk has comes in very handy against niche decks like Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon Karakuri Turbo. So that's the end of game 1. a quick round out of us. You can hear tapping away the cameraman in the background, logging challenge victories right now. We are going to do our best to bring you the next round as quickly as possible. Previously, there was something like 15 to 20 minute differences between rounds because I was personally inputting everything. Now that I'm not doing that, I expect it to be much less. So we'll see you very shortly with the results of round 1, and we'll be back for round 2. Don't go anywhere.